Um, I came across this article about Ashes of Creation, and it's been a while since I've even looked up any information on them, so I just wanted to go over it and give my thoughts about it. It says MMO hype train Ashes of Creation's player friction limits its potential success. Just came out a few days ago by Justin Olivetti. To date, I've chipped in for only 3 MMO Kickstarters, and one of those is Ashes of Creation. At the time of its initial 2016 announcement and campaign, I found the general concept appealing and the enthusiasm of this team infectious. We sorely needed and continue to need next gen MMOs on the market, and this one looked to take ideas from the past and step forward with them into a fascinating future. I don't know if I agree with that. I think they're just trying to recapture the magic of an MMO that's basically gone arcade. But that's just an opinion. However, it hasn't been the long passage of development time that severely cooled my attitude towards Astro Creation, but the gradual realization that this would be a very cutthroat world more akin to Eve Online or Albion Online than EverQuest 2. And I'm worried that's going to bite the long-term prospects of this MMO pretty hard if Intrepid Studios doesn't change its course. Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like PvP MMOs. Not necessarily because of their combat. Usually, that's what people say. It's like, oh, the combat isn't good enough for a PvP game. Like, for example, Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy's combat is good enough. I've had plenty of fun on it myself. But if I'm going to play MMO, I'm usually going to play it for its PvE aspects. Dungeons, raids, stuff like that, and like extracurricular stuff like fishing and you know gathering, crafting, stuff like that. I want to be fair here and point out that there's so much going for this MMO project, starting with a team packed full of veteran devs who are being given a lot of leeway to create the kind of game that they would like to play themselves. Ashes of Creation is brimming with thoughtful touches, such as seasons that affect certain plants. From what I've seen, the graphics look vibrant and beautiful, and the combat is getting a huge amount of attention and fine tuning. And in principle, I do like the node system where players can work together to build up settlements into large, thriving cities. Now, this is one aspect of Ashes of Creation that I don't like, the node system. It seems like it's going to be a ton of work, and it's just like, what if you're on a low population server? Like, it's going to take you forever to get your node going, and then if somebody breaks your node, then you have to build it up again. It just doesn't sound fun in the long run, you know. Plus, what they're doing with flying mounts and Ashes of Creation is also a problem, in my opinion. Only only a certain amount of people get it with the flying mounts, mainly governors of the nodes. So it's like if you're a popular streamer or you got a lot of people that you have influence over, then you're going to have the flying mount, and you're most likely going to keep it, especially in certain node types where it's a vote for who's governor instead of like battling out to be governor. So what's the issue here? Other than the fact that this game's been in the making for nearly a decade now, that's crazy, and is only in alpha testing. Why is it no longer one of the first games that comes to mind when players talk about being hyped for future MMOs? Um, I don't know. Maybe it's the doomer aspect. I think because like for the past, I would say, yeah, past 5 to 10 years, we've been getting a lot of Asian MMOs, and those have been pay to win and nice graphics and decent gameplay, but not a lot of in-game stuff to keep you around, right? Unless you pay for it. And you know, not to get off topic, but Lost Ark should have been like the next big MMO. It should have been, in my opinion. In my opinion, it should have been like the number three MMO on the market, but um, due to due to elitism, it just wasn't, and the devs didn't care. Apparently, didn't because like in my opinion, I hold that because of elitism, not a lot of people continue to play it after that, after getting initially to end game, because like you get to the raid, you don't know the raid, and you wipe, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, I'm out. I don't want to be locked," or they have these jails, and so they gatekeep you Like, oh, you don't have this card set. Oh, your gear's not good enough, or you're playing this certain class. I don't want that class. So yeah, and devs didn't do anything, and eventually it kind of fell off. It's not dead. Obviously, there are plenty of people playing it, and it's still a cool game. You know, I still enjoy watching streams of it, but I just don't feel like continuing it. Um, but anyway, that was a tangent. What I keep hearing and seeing is a combination of deal breakers. The Ashes of Creation is focused a lot of player friction for many of its systems, an undue emphasis on PvP over PvE content, and edgelord style attitudes in forums and social media. This does not appear to be a world where you can slip into the role of a bright-eyed adventurer and enjoy a journey free from human hassles. On the contrary, this MMO seems to relish the prospect of people scrabbling over each other's corpses for advancement, fame, and power. I mean, there are some people who actually want this, but I would venture to guess that it's a minority. Let's not forget that Amazon initially positioned New World as this great territory control PvP game, only to realize that most people really didn't want that and pivoted hard towards PvE in its final year of pre-launch. There's a lesson to be learned there. The lesson is, if you have a game plan, don't deviate from that, or your game is going to fall flat, clearly. Or just overhype your game and you'll earn a ton of money at first and it won't matter. No, I understand what he's saying. He's saying, like, obviously go with something that's popular so you won't have to pivot hard. And Ashes of Creation doing this whole PvP thing is not very popular, but I think it was popular in Arc Age, and I think that's why they're doing it. And remember how Intrepid tried to spin the game off into a battle royale fighter several years ago? Yeah, it was Apocalypse, right? I think that's what the mode was called. To me, that told me that the devs have had less confidence in their ability to make an MMO and more of a desire to leap on any PvP bandwagon that came along. It was a short-lived thing, but it eroded confidence in the overall product. My understanding is they were trying to do it to test their servers, but obviously they could have been lying about that, and they just wanted to test if they could even if their game could even function anyway. Um, but obviously they could have been not telling the truth or obfuscating a couple of things. I cannot stress enough how important it is for MMOs to create an umbrella as wide as possible for its future player bases. We see far too many upcoming titles limit themselves by deliberately appealing to only a certain audience inside an already niche genre, and that doesn't bode well. PvPers and raiders and casuals and crafters and role players alike should be looking at a game like Ashes of Creation and thinking, "Hey, there's a lot here that appeals to me in my playstyle." I don't think that this is anywhere near that right now. From surveying threads of people alpha testing this game, I think it's not nearly as full featured as Intrepid would like you to believe. You've got some open world PvP, if that's your thing, or you can go out and grind mobs on the map like it's Lineage 2 back in the mid 2000s. Obviously, it has a long way to go in development. So is it doomed right now? I absolutely would not say that. Ashes of Creation is still a hefty contender with its pedigree, resources, and invested development. Some testers report that they absolutely love the crap out of this game and see great potential for it. But if it's going to be a contender for real, this MMO needs to accelerate development and testing, broaden its appeal, and take steps to tamp down on a growing toxic element within its community that could drive away many potential players. I don't know that. I don't know about that. A toxic element within its community that could drive away many potential players. Well, to me personally, just because somebody like writes on Reddit, "Hey, this game sucks," that's not gonna like steer me away from trying the game out. But I guess if it grows to a certain amount, then yeah, no one's gonna want to play it. To me, I haven't bought the alpha packs because I don't want to pay that much money. But I think I would try the game out when it comes out. If it comes out, we don't know. How are you feeling about Ashes of Creation right now in 2025? The combat isn't what I thought it was. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it's not what I thought it was. And overall, I don't care about guild PvP or 200 on 200 or whatever the number was. Was it 500 on 500 PvP sieges or 250 v 250 or whatever? I just don't care about that. I'm more interested in the story, dungeon, and raids personally, and the class interactions. I would say they have this like this system where they take like 8 archetypes, and then you do that to a certain level, and then you get to pick your like subclass or extra class, and it combines to make a whole new class. I thought that was interesting, but all we can do is wait, and hopefully the game isn't too horrible, because there's not too many good MMOs out right now that people want to play. There's been a wave of people going back and playing older MMOs like OSRS, like Guild Wars 2, uh, even WoW. Even though like most people, like, okay, I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm getting off WoW and going to SRS," but I see a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going back to WoW because there's nothing else good to play right now." Even like the new MMOs that have come out, like Crystal of Atlan, no one played that, right? People got on it, and then they had one raid. You play the raid, and you're like, "Okay, I'm bored now," so you get off of it. I just want good MMOs, man. Hopefully that Riot MMO will be good. Probably not.